Okay, good morning, children. Children, we have started a new lesson and then we have learnt about the constitution, types of government, democracies, everything. And yesterday we have learnt about the types of democracy. We have started direct democracy, indirect democracy. Just wait for a few seconds. Is my voice clear now? Is my voice okay, fine. So thank you all. So according to Abraham Lincoln, democracy means the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So in that we have started with the types of democracy. Okay, so direct democracy we have learned. It is a political setup where the people themselves make the laws. That means we are the people. We are not sitting and making the laws. What we do, our representatives, okay, make the laws and parliament directly in the functioning of the government. Actually, we are not telling any laws, this law, or this rule, or whatever it is. We select the representatives in turn. They will, okay, they will make the laws. And decisions are taken on the basis of the majority of the opinion. How we will do? On the basis of the majority. Because different opinions, different decisions will be there in that. Whoever, okay, suppose if they are going to take any decision, if a problem is discussed or if a solution is discussed, if it has the majority, then that will be decided. So based on the majority, the decisions will be taken. Okay, and this direct democracy is suitable for the small countries. That also we have discussed. And the examples of direct democracy, ancient Greek, which is called as Rome, and India. Okay, and modern period, now it is Switzerland also. Indirect democracy we have learned. It is also, okay, a democracy. It is a form of democracy where the representatives are elected by the people and they act on behalf of the people. Okay, so both are like almost the same only. In the first one, people have the full rights. In the second one, the representatives will have the rights in favor of the public. Okay. So merits we have seen yesterday. Democracies, that is a responsible and accountable government will be there. Okay, because the representatives are elected by the people. If they don't do their work properly, anytime they will be taken away from their position by the public opinion. So equality and fraternity is given. Sense of responsibility among common people. By making the laws in a democracy, people are responsible. They have the sense of responsibility. And local self-government. We are not ruled by one single person. We are governed by different units. Like we have central government, state governments are divided into local governments, village panchayat, and each and everything. Even the districts are having the wards. Okay, you may ask your parents also which ward you belong to, you find out, and for that ward the councillor will be there. Each ward has a councillor. And what is that? Who is the head of the district? Mayor. Okay, mayor also will be there. Now the elections are not conducted for these post councillors and mayors. It will be conducted. Okay, I'm telling you, for each district, councillors are responsible. Councillors in turn report to the mayors. Mayors in turn report to the collectors. So this goes on like this. It is a big process. Higher officials are there. So that is why it is given here as local self-government we have. Each and every smaller units are governed by different people. Development and prosperity for all and popular sovereignty. It has a sense of cooperation. It creates a sense of cooperation and fraternal feeling. And next one, demerits of democracy. Indirect or representative nature of democracy. Here, people cannot go and give punishment for the politicians, whoever does wrong. Okay, and people cannot go directly and make any laws. So it is all only the representative form of government. Only the representatives will do the governing. Lack of interest in democratic process and hence lower turnout in election. That also we have discussed for you to understand. That is why I have taken from that. Okay, so what is happening? We know very well that though we have the right of vote to select the representatives, they are not doing their duty properly. So what is happening? Slowly, people are losing their interest towards voting and electing the persons. Okay, so that is what is happening in the society. Instability in governance due to fractured mandate. Some of the rules and regulations are not followed by everybody, and it is not mandated also. If anything is done, it is not corrected, it is not followed by everybody at every time. Okay, and since there are different political parties, there are delays in decision making also. So it takes time to decide on. Okay, that is what is given here as delay. So let us see the democracy in India. So India has a parliamentary form of government. We have the parliamentary system. This parliament consists of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and it has the elected representatives. It has the elected representatives. The participation of the people in the decision making and the consent of citizens are the two elements of parliamentary democracy. What are the two elements? The participation of the people in the decision making and the consent of citizens. Because every time when they are going to do anything, we don't know. We all are sitting at home, we don't know. Okay, all on behalf of the people, the representatives take the decision. Okay, and follows universal adult franchise. What kind of method we are following? Universal adult franchise. That is the right to vote. Whoever has attained the age of 18, they all have the right to vote irrespective of the caste, creed, religion, the male or female or whatever it is. And the basic principles of Indian democracy are sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. Let us see one by one now. Here, if you see Indian electoral system, you can see the Vidhan Sabha, Lok Sabha, all that divisions. And if you see here, the president, prime minister, MP, MLA, there are so many persons are involved in the government process. So India has a quasi-federal government with elected representatives at the federal, state, and the local levels. At all the levels, representatives are elected by the people. So we say it as a quasi-federal government. It is also called as a quasi-federal government because it has the elected representatives at the central level, state level, and the local level. Central level is also called as federal level. Okay, and all these elections are conducted by the Election Commission of India. President has the right to appoint the officers for the Election Commission of India, chief for the Election Commission of India. This Election Commission is in charge of conducting the elections anytime, anywhere it is happening. They will only decide the date, they will decide the place, everything. They will decide who has to participate, who should not participate. based on the qualifications. So all that will be done by the Election Commission of India. At the national level, the President of India appoints a Prime Minister. This Prime Minister enjoys majority in the Lok Sabha, that is the lower house of the Parliament. Lok Sabha, lower house. Rajya Sabha, upper house. Don't say higher house. Rajya Sabha, upper house. And this is Lok Sabha, lower house. Okay? So national level, President of India is the head. This President of India appoints a Prime Minister, whoever wants the majority in the Lok Sabha. So this is only Indian Parliament building. So this Parliament of India, as I told that this is the structure of the Parliament of India. Rajya Sabha, which has a council of states, that is a council of members. And here Lok Sabha, which is also called the House of People. Okay, in Rajya Sabha, the number of members should not be more than 250. Whereas in Lok Sabha, the number of members should not be more than 545. 545. And here, if you see here, the Rajya Sabha, 12 persons are nominated by the president based on their qualification, like for literature, art, architecture, and so many people who ever philosophical way, who all are called as the learned intellectuals. So, okay, according to that, the 12 people are nominated by the president. Okay, and not more than 200 because 250, 12 are nominated by the president. The other 238 members are the representatives of the states and union territories. They are the representatives of the states and union territories. Here, out of 545, 530 are elected representatives of the people, and 2 are nominated as the Anglo-Indian community people, from the Anglo-Indian community people. And here 13 from the union territories. 13 representatives from the union territories. So on the whole, if you see 530 plus 2 plus 13, 545. Okay. So here, what are the steps in an election? First, a nomination should be done by the candidates. Whoever is willing to participate in the election, contest in the election, they have to first fill out a form and give the form to the in charges, officers. This is called what? Nomination. A particular date will be given. So in that date, the nomination to be done. After that, campaigning. Campaigning means vote for me, vote for me. They go here and there and ask the people to do everything. Canvassing. That is called what? Canvassing. Next one, polling. Polling means on the day of voting. On the day of voting. Then after that, counting. These are the process involved in election. Nomination, campaigning, which is called canvassing, polling, and counting. So here, one India, one election. Okay, we are moving towards, and already we have achieved that, we are moving towards one India, one election. Throughout India, there should be only one election at a time. Okay. The first election was held between 25th October 1951 and 21st February 1952. Why it is given as between? Because it is not possible to conduct election in all the states in all over India and all the union territories. So places are divided, and part by part the elections will be conducted. That is why the time duration is given. The first election was held between 25th October 1951 and 21st February 1952. Okay, so in that election, the Indian National Congress, INC means Indian National Congress, won with 364 seats out of 489 seats, which means they won the majority, more than half. At that time, Jawaharlal Nehru became the first prime minister because he belonged to Indian National Congress party. Okay, before, even during the Britishers' rule also, the first political party which was formed by the Indians was the Indian National Congress. So who was the first prime minister? Jawaharlal Nehru. So what are the challenges are there in a democracy? So we have a lot of challenges in a democracy. Some people are illiterates. They don't know how they are exploited by the other super people, like higher people, officials or something else. And criminalization of politics. Politics has become totally like a criminalization. Okay. So they have the ultimate aim of within 5 years, the amount of money to be earned. That only they have in their mind. If we select like very rare persons are out of that mind and they have the full service mind. Okay. Next one, corruption. Everywhere corruption. If you give money, that work will be done. You know very well, even if somebody dies in the hospital, only after giving the money, the dead bodies will be given. So that is called giving money for some work to be done. That is called what? Corruption. Regionalism, area wise politics. My area, your area, this one, that one. My area should get lot of benefit, that area should get lot of benefit, so like that. Next one, religious fundamentalism. So religious wise also problems occur everywhere. Communalism. Okay. Communalism means like the community. I belong to this community. My community people are the greater than your community people. So always this kind of discriminations everywhere and the chaos because of that. Okay, casteism, gender discrimination everywhere. Okay, for the same kind of the job, males are given more salary compared to the females. So these kind of gender discriminations everywhere. Poverty, still it is there because we can see the beggars outside on the road, in the platforms, near the railway station, bus stops, bus station, everywhere we can see. This shows that still poverty condition prevails in our country. Okay, economic inequality. So because of the lack of money, some children are not allowed to go to school. They don't have the chance to go to school. Because of that, they get the poor jobs when they grow up. When they get the poor jobs, they earn very little money out of that. And because of that, economic inequality also occurs everywhere. Some people are earning in lakhs per month. Some people are earning in hundreds per month. So imagine how it will be. If we ask somebody, they will say 3 lakhs per month, or minimum they will say 1 lakh per month. If we ask the other extreme, they will say, oh, today's earning 20 rupees I got, 50 rupees I got today. That's what they will say. That too, somebody don't get even that too. Okay. And because of that, social inequality occurs in the democracy. Okay. Then political violence, that we need not say, everywhere it is happening. These are all the challenges in a democracy. Okay. Conditions for the success of democracy in India. What are all the conditions? So empowerment of the poor and illiterates to enjoy the goodness of the democracy. Empowerment should be given. Some plans to be made to encourage the poor people to come to the good standard and even the illiterate to become the literate people. Illiterate, na padikadavargal. Illiterate to become the literate people. So even though some steps are taken by the government. Yes, ma'am. Is there any problem?
நான் தான் தள்ளி விட்டேன்.
Children, please mute your mic. Okay, so empowerment of the poor and illiterates to enjoy the goodness of democracy. So even though some programs are there by the government, given by the government, it doesn't reach the people properly. So in that welfare measures also, the intermediaries, whoever are there in between the government and the people, they enjoy the money instead of the money reaching the poor people. So willingness among the elected people not to misuse. This willingness should be there among the elected people. People elected us. We have to be truthful to the people. We have to do something good for the people. That willingness should be there among the people whoever were elected. Okay. Then eradication of social evils and dangers from which democracy suffers. social evils are there, still it is being practiced by many of the people, social evils. So all that to be stopped, because it is a very dangerous one. An impartial and efficient press to form public opinion. Impartial and efficient press. Even we say that the newspapers and the press agencies, they have a lot of freedom to do their work, but using that freedom, they misuse everything. They put the wrong messages, wrong news, and so many things are going on. Because of those kind of wrong messages, many people and good people, they lose their life also because of that. So press also should be efficient in their work. Presence of strong public opinion. Even the public also play. People also have a very important role. If something is going wrong in the society, people should be against that, because people have the right to oppose all those kind of the wrong things according to the constitution. They have the right. Okay. So people also should be there. Strong public opinions should be there. So if all these are done, the democracy will function well. Okay. Feeling of tolerance and communal harmony among the people. We should have the tolerance towards everybody. No, you belong to that group, I belong to this group. Why I have to adjust with you? Why you have to adjust with me? No, nothing. So tolerance and communal harmony should be there, especially among the communities and among the religions. Awareness among the people of the fundamental rights that they are entitled to enjoy. Every people should know that what are the fundamental rights they have. So without misusing that fundamental rights, the people have to have their fundamental rights as well as to do their duties to the government. Conscious check and vigilance on the working of the elected representatives. Once the vote is casted by the people, we say that after 5 years only this election will come. We need not stand in the queue for 5 years like that. We should not think and sit in a home. We have to have the conscious check on the government. That means it is not told that we have to go and check them. Okay, because nowadays a lot of organizations are there. In case if the government is not functioning well, the organizations oppose them. So even through those kind of organizations also, the public can show their opinions. And powerful, that's what is given at the last, powerful and responsible opposition. Okay. Why you we may be thinking that the ruling party is there for the country, then why to have opposite party? If the opposite parties are not there, the ruling parties will not function well, because opposite parties will always ask the questions. Why do you do this? Why do you need this? Is this necessary now? Why are you spending so much of it? And like that, if they ask continuously, somehow the ruling party will come on to the line and then they do their work properly. Okay, so opposition parties are also very, very important. So Indian democracy can be successful and vibrant only when the citizens imbibe and reflect in their behavior the basic democratic values. What are all the basic democratic values? Equality, freedom, social justice, accountability, and finally, respect for all. Okay? For all. Then citizens' mindset, thinking, and behavior are expected to be in tune with the essential conditions of the democracy. What are all the essential conditions? Participation, making the system accountable. If your area MLA is not, sorry, your area councillor is not doing the work well, you can ask the question, why the road is not laid properly? What are you doing like that? We have the right, the public have the right to do that. Then fulfilling obligations, playing proactive roles. All these are the desired roles. Okay, children. So that's it about the lesson. We have learned about the government, democracy, types of democracy, what are all the essential rules, and everything we have learned. So go through the lesson, and regarding the content, we will do it in the next class. Okay, children. Do you have any doubt regarding this lesson? Children, regarding your mark, it will be told in the next class. Okay? I don't have time to say it now, and it takes time to. I don't have the note with me now to say your marks. Okay, so it will be told in the next class. Anything else, children? If you have any doubt regarding this lesson. So children, you can start preparing for your next cycle test. As I said yesterday, you have to start learning the history lesson 1 and history lesson 2. Okay, and side by side, you will be getting the Google Forms also to do your activities. Activities means it is purely a Google form where you have to choose the answer. That's it. Okay, I'm not going to give a lot of work like a project work or something like that. So it will be purely a Google form, but you have to read through the lesson and you have to write it. Fine, children? Okay, so it will be given to you today. Yes, the materials are not given. I will check it out one more time, whether it is posted in the classroom. And based on that, you will be getting your materials today. Okay? Okay, children, thank you all. We will meet in the next class. No project work at all. No project work. It's only like choose the correct answer format. Okay, children, thank you all.